everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we are working on part number 2, which is going to be the final piece to the water with the lemon dropping in the cup and color pencil. So we'll be finishing that off, and then toward the end I'm actually thinking about doing like a little something where I'm showing you like a reference, not really the reference photo, but what I've traced over the reference photo, and then kind of putting it up to my painting and just showing you the difference. Like, not everything you don't have to put into, like, if you're trying to trace and trying to work on a project really quick instead of freehand drawing it really quick. I wanted to show you my little tracing and kind of put it up to the piece itself and just kind of show you what I've actually done. Some of the things that maybe I could have done without, which is basically I didn't have to draw as much as I did on that little tracing. It really honestly only needs to be like an outline or a pinpointing, like a dark spot or maybe a really bright area. Something that you want to distinctly know that whenever you're drawing or painting, when you come up to that point, you're like, okay, that little circle area is basically where it goes dark. You know, just something, you know, it doesn't really have to be every single line, every single little dot. You just kind of make that as you go. You just look at your reference photo, look at the colors, and just keep branching off from that area and moving forward through your reference or your reference photo, not your tracing. Tracing is just a simple outline. It really should be. On mine, I kind of overdid it. And you can kind of tell because whenever you put it up to the piece itself, not everything is completely aligned with what I did because I did my own thing. And that's just something that you'll just work on or get better at, especially if you're a beginner, you know, and you're just wanting to get the color pencil piece down, to be able to use color pencil, to be able to use some of these other mediums, and you just want to jump right into it. You don't feel like, you know, spending multiple days just drawing and erasing and all that stuff, which basically you, even if you did that on a separate piece of paper, which you should be doing, instead of erasing on your main piece of paper and then having a bunch of lines and eraser marks everywhere. But you really should be doing it on a separate piece of paper, then transferring that onto whatever piece of paper you're going to use to sell. So I'm just going to show you that and show you some of the things that maybe I would have done a little differently, which usually I do. This time I kind of went and spent a little bit more time on my little tracing the outline of that, you know, cup and water. Just I put too much into the tracing. I didn't even use all of it. So just here and there I use some things, and I use my own colors too. So I kind of made that piece my own. I'm on a stool and I started rolling downhill. Oh my goodness. By the way, I wanted to let you guys know I still have the sale up on my, if you go in the links below, I do have my originals for sale. They are still on sale. So they are actually cut. I think some of them are actually like 50% off. So you're getting definitely a steal from these. And so I just kind of have this one out here. So this one here is still for sale. This is our little bear with the sunflower and the honeybee hive behind it. Absolutely, it's a beautiful piece. Love it. Then I've got some of these other ones. And I want to let you guys know that if you do, any of you guys place an order or anything like that, I put them in temporary, like I always call them throwaway mats, because these mats I just cut out myself. So they're not going to be the greatest thing in the world for the mats, but they are something which is better than nothing whenever I go to ship them. So if any of you guys purchase any of these, they will come in this little throwaway mat. You can end up getting it matted yourself. Probably would be the best anyways, by doing your own colors or whichever you want to do. And then I use my tape here, and I know you see blue, and a lot of times you're like thinking, okay, is it blue, is it acid free? It is acid free tape. And I actually got some black tape that's also acid free by the same people that makes the black one. They actually had a low tech acid free tape, and I ended up finding it, and I absolutely love it. But I just got it taped on the back, just here, you know, just one little thing section, so that way it's easy to remove it and then be able to make your own matting. But yeah, I got this cute little guy here. This one here, I absolutely love it. I call it a hamster's vacation. So hamster's vacation is up for sale. It's so cute. I wanted to show you guys some of these because I absolutely love them. I want to put them down here temporarily, so it should be fine. And I want to lay them flat. Then we got the strawberry drop in water. This one here is a color pencil piece, and then it's got a airbrush black background. So this one here is still up for sale, on sale, 50% off. Then we got the corn. It's corn. So that one there is done in ink. And this one here, I kind of taped a little bit more than what I should, but I did use the black tape on it, which is still archival. It's acid-free, not really archival, acid-free, pH neutral stuff. And then I got the hamster's tea party, which is super, super cute. Absolutely love this one. It's just really adorable, especially if you had the hamster's tea party and then you got the hamster's vacation. Definitely go together. We got the little charcoal here. And then I kind of put this in a bigger one, but it'll be okay. I ended up doing this egg one where you got the the springtime egg, and instead of making like a little short little square one, I just kind of cut it out and made like a bigger something, which is kind of cool because if you wanted to actually put like something on like a matting like this, you can actually put like maybe little pieces of grass or something to make it look like little bird eggs, maybe some fake little bird eggs, and then put it into a little bit bigger glass, I guess one of those glass ones that you can kind of put some extra detail in there. So yeah, those are some of the ones I've got. I do have, you know what, I don't even think I actually posted my rooster one, but definitely this one here. I actually got some of my other ones here. Yeah, I don't think I had my rooster one up for sale, did I? Or my owl. I don't know if I got the owl up there. But some of these I actually posted on on eBay too. But we got the rooster. I actually need to put him up. I don't think I have him up yet, but I actually forgot about him. And then of course we got Filbert, the turtle, which is super, super cute. Now he is on, I think he's on one of the sites, but I'm actually thinking about going ahead and putting this one up for sale on my website along with the rooster and I guess some other ones, but that will probably be up probably next week. I'm going to put those up for sale. So definitely be keeping a lookout for these because they are super, super cute and absolutely fun to have, especially this one. This one here is like absolutely gorgeous. I love this one. And it's pretty big too. So if it's a 16 by 20 piece, then the matting on that was like basically like a 32 or something like that. But yeah, extremely fun. So anyways, just wanted to put that out there just because I wanted to share it. And usually I don't do a lot of, you know, talking about sales or anything, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. So that way, if you ever feel interested, I have those over there on my website, which is links are below. And then also I got the prints available at Fine Art America, and that is also in the links below. So anyways, let's go ahead and run. I've already done enough. Let's go ahead and jump into the video and start on our lemon drop in water and finish that one off. Alright, so here I'm starting out with doing some of the outside of the glass. Now if you see me take out any of those green pencils like that one, that is just me kind of giving it a little bit of a greenish hue around the outside of the glass because that's where I wanted the glass color to have a little bit of a tint. Now in my reference photo that I was looking at, there were some different colors. They didn't have a lot of the browns, they didn't have a lot of tans or anything like that. I just went ahead and decided that I wanted to throw in more brownish colors, more tans, more, you know, of those types of colors. So I went ahead and chose them. It wasn't like it was actually in my reference photo. But that's what makes it really nice is just, and see right there, I'm just kind of looking at what I had traced and laid down, and I'm just kind of judging where the water actually goes across there. I didn't draw anything there, didn't really need anything there, but I was just getting a kind of a judgment by putting my finger up and like pretending like, okay, this is where the water is going to be. So yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly, you know, or nothing has to really be exact. I think the only thing you want to get pretty close on would just be, and I mean, I don't know, it kind of varies too. If you're doing like the glass, what shape the glass is, if it has to be like, try and get it as straight as you can. But then again, I mean, you could probably do curvy glass. You can do weird looking glass that's all waved out, or, you know, kind of like an S glass. I mean, you can let your creativity do whatever it wants. I mean, it doesn't really have to be a perfectly straight line, I guess, neither. You could also make that. You know, I told my daughter that, she said, well, how does it look so realistic what you do? And she goes, I want to do what you do. And I told her, I said, well, it's all about your values. It's about getting your darks in there dark as you can. It's about getting your lights in there as light as you can where it needs to be. It's about basing, like looking at a reference photo, and you can look at anything. I said, if you're doing like a strawberry, you know, just look at that strawberry. Where are the darker reds? Where are the lighter reds? You know, just getting an idea of where your values are. I said, it does not matter about how perfect your drawing is, because I mean, if you're doing portraits, completely understand it has to be spot on, otherwise it's not going to look like the person you're drawing. So there is times that your drawings have to be pretty close, or you're doing an exact thing, like you're wanting it to look to a T just like what you're doing. But I told her I could probably write out her name basically in bubble like letters, but making out her name, and I could probably turn that into strawberries. And she looked at me and she goes, what? And I said, yeah. I said, and make it look more realistic, because I'll be looking at strawberries, but just because I'm looking at strawberries doesn't mean I'm copying the strawberries, but I'm just getting an idea of shadows or variations of colors. And I could basically make her name into strawberry letters, like spelled out. So, and it would still look realistic, like real strawberries, just some really weird ones that are shaped in the letters of her name. I don't know. I thought it would be kind of cool actually to do like a little piece like that and make it more summery and have like strawberries spelled out in her name, and she can actually put it up on her wall. And yeah, that's just something, I mean, it's a weird thought, but I think it's kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of summery, and yeah, I might actually attempt to do that one day. But here I am just adding in some of these colors. Like I said, not the reference photo didn't have all these colors. I just picked something that was similar, but yet kind of I wanted to bring some of those brownish colors, tans into my picture. So that's why I started using them. Now how I did this is just basically I just layered upon layered. I mean, I used my lighter colors on top of some of the darker areas. If it wasn't dark enough and I went a little too light, then I would just go back in and just start putting in some of my darker shadows and stuff, and I would work with it. Now this lemon here is a lemon that's been squeezed, so this lemon is definitely not going to be as fresh and looking as the one on the bottom. The bottom wasn't squeezed, but this one here was. So here I am just adding in so many different colors, as you can tell. I mean, I'm picking up like, probably I would say I used on this maybe 7 or 8 colors. I mean, it was quite a few, and I just went ahead and picked them up. I threw them in there. You know, I seen another one that I like to incorporate some of that color, you know, and I would throw it in there. Use my lighter ones to kind of make up these little straggly lines in there from the meat of the lemon. And I even threw in a couple little bubbles because I did see some bubbles around there, and I didn't have those drawn in my reference photo, but are on my my tracing that I went ahead and laid out. Oops. I guess maybe I should turn off my alarm clock. I'm actually doing this super early in the morning. I spent time with my daughter yesterday because she was over for spring break. My words are getting tongue-tied already. So I spent my time with her yesterday, and we played some games and did some fun stuff. And when I got done, then I kind of ran time on my time. I was behind. So I woke up super early today, Tuesday, the day that I'm supposed to have this out, and went ahead and did my voiceover here. Well, here I'm just adjusting everything. So yeah, that was one of my alarms. I was hoping I turned off all of them because, oh my gosh, I usually set a lot of alarms just to wake myself up in the morning. And I try to pick like the loudest thing I can find to wake me up on my on my phone to ring. And my daughter has this one song that she used to play whenever she was younger. She liked this one song, and it's about like monsters or something like that. Like, I'm scared. You know, it's like a Halloween kind of song. And she liked it. She's like, oh, I like that song. And I was like, you know what? It's pretty good. It has a little catch to it. And I was like, I like it too. So then I got the song, and then she got super excited because she couldn't believe I had that song. It was just something that was short, or, you know, it wasn't really like one of those songs you hear on the radio. And so, yeah, I ended up creating it into a ringtone, and it definitely makes me jump up. I'm like, okay, I'm awake. It's like the loudest ringtone ever. So I've been using it for many years just because, you know, my daughter loves that song, and then on top of it, it really plays pretty loud, so where it can wake me up. But nonetheless, here I'm working on the rind of the lemon, and I'm just kind of going around this and little kind of dotting it, and I'm not going over everything solid because there's so many different colors in this rind. You had like the light reflecting off of it, and you had light patches of the yellow. You had, you know, some of these orangey colors in this rind, because of where it really was ripened, or, you know. So I went through and just kind of dotted it around kind of in the area that I looked at the reference photo, and created more of a texture kind of look that way, because that's what it looks like whenever it's underwater. It's got a lot of reflection on it. So I just based everything solely off my reference photo. And then looking at my reference photo, you had a lot of this water that it basically reflected the colors of lemon off of. So I really had to hone in and look at that to see where those colors went with the reflection of the lemon, so that way I can incorporate those colors into the water. And I try not to think of it as water when I'm working on it. I really try and just look at the colors. So what color goes, you know, swashes here, or what color swashes here? Is that color something that maybe I can incorporate maybe my brown into that I was wanting to go for? Is it a lighter gray? Maybe I should use a lighter tan. So I changed the colors to the colors that I was wanting to add into it. Instead of having gray and black and gray and black and different variations of gray, I wanted to do a little bit more brown tones. So where there was a light gray or something on the edge of the glass, I would use a light tan. If it was a medium gray, transitioning from light gray to medium gray, I would do light tan to a medium brown. So, I mean, I just kind of switched up the colors a little bit. Now here I'm just going ahead and adding in some of these different, I mean, it was really a mess here on the reference photo. It had a lot of water, but then it had a lot of reflection in it. It had some greens, which I like the greens because I do use green around the outside of this glass, just kind of make that tint. I then go over it with a white, the Derwent white, Chinese white. I do go over the top of that green with the Derwent Chinese white. Then I take a little bit of a light silver or a light gray over it into it too. So that way it's not like too green. I want that hint of green. So if I made it too green, then it would be kind of standing out a little bit too much. So I mean, add in white with a little bit of that teal color on top, and then you can go back over it again with white with a little bit of a lighter gray. And so that way it kind of smooths and softens it out to where it's not too bright. Now there was a lot of colors in this, and I mean a lot of different colors. I know it was in my reference photo, so I just kind of winged it. I just kind of threw in all these different colors into this water. There was so many reflections. It wasn't just straight out white or straight out grays, and they even had a lot of these different colors in the water itself too. So I just kind of went with it, made up my own designs as I'm going. I just got it close, but it ain't perfect. I did fill in, I don't think I made it to that part yet, but I was working around this little area right above the lemon. Actually, could be right in there that I'm working on right now. And I worked on it and I filled it completely in, and then decided that actually was not what I wanted to do. Like, I should have kept it more of a whiter color, but it still didn't look right. It looked weird. And so I really spent a little bit of time working on this little part here. And then you'll see me take out my, because after I filled it in with color, I ended up basically filling it in with color at the end. And I took some of my titanium white, which is by Brush and Pencil. I went ahead and mixed it up with my touch-up texture. The little thing that's in that nail polish that always looks like nail polish. It's not nail polish, but I took some of that. I mixed it up with my titanium white, and then I used a small brush and I went back in and added in some white in there, so that way it wasn't. I kind of brought it back because, yeah, I had filled it in and then decided, okay, this is not good. I'm gonna have to lighten it up with some white. So here I am kind of working on the outside of the glass. I mean, it was really kind of hard. That glass actually loops around the other side, and it's kind of at an angle. There I am working on that part that, yeah. But the good thing is that I finally fixed it at the end, that I was happy with it. But it was just that area right in there, that circle, and that it was really bothering me. It had so many different colors in it, but it just, the way I filled it in wasn't what I was really wanting. I think maybe I got carried away with myself and decided to color in everything. There I'm kind of adding in different colors with the reflection. Now this water up here, I basically just used lighter grays and darker grays. And I went for my warm grays, not the cold grays. I went for my warm grays because of the fact that it has a little tint of like a brown or a warmer color that goes good with brown. So I went ahead and used my warm grays instead of using my cold grays. I use my cold grays whenever I'm going with something that has a little bit more of a lighter, I mean, yeah, it's like more of a lighter color, but it has more of like, it's like a lot brighter, and it goes with like blues. You know, if you're using a lot of blues, I would go with cold grays. If you're using a lot of warmer colors like browns, I usually go with my warm grays. There's some little tans that I'm kind of throwing in there. But yeah, there's a whole lot to it. I mean, even if you trace something out, I mean, yeah, there's a whole lot into that than just the line, you know. The basically I just use like the outside line of something, and sometimes I don't. There we go. There I am with my brush, and I'm putting on that titanium white, or titanium white, and my brush and pencil touch up texture, mixing them together, and then I'm just kind of adding in back in my whites. Kind of add in some little dots here and there too with the little bubbles. Now this stuff here is archival, and it is safe for color pencil. It's supposed to be used with color pencil for color pencil. So you are good to use this on your works. Now I'm getting my eraser and just kind of erasing as I go. Most of the time, usually, if I'm doing something like this and I have my tracing out there, then I usually just erase it from the get go. And yeah, it sometimes it erases it almost completely, and you're like, okay, I don't see anything. But yeah, it's just some of the lines are important, but to me, it's not all of them. What's important to me, basically, whenever I'm looking at it, is where I'm at on my uh, reference photo. You know, just to kind of give me a judgment of where I'm at. If I need to draw it in with my color pencils, then I'll do that. Kind of like my teacup. If you guys ever seen my video with the hamster's tea party, basically, that I did with the color pencils, that one there, it's like you can tell that my cup, on my teacup, they had an outline of a teacup with some squiggles on the cup. I mean, you couldn't even identify that they were even flowers on that cup. I mean, it was just squiggles. And I erased those, and I went ahead and put in all my detail, all my flower petals, all my little vines. I even added in vines that weren't even on the reference photo to my little teacup, just because I had so much fun and I wanted to make a vine kind of going out a little bit further than what was on the reference photo. So I mean, I added in all those details. Didn't really need them from the from the tracing. All I wanted basically was an outline of a cup, just to kind of give me an idea. Okay, here's my boundaries, or here's where our darker area is, or here's an idea of where a flower starts, maybe. But other than that, I like to draw in my own details with my color pencils alone and not a actual pencil as I work. And so here I am just adding a bunch of little bitty details, bunch of little curves, erasing it out just a little bit more so that way I can keep it going. It is definitely early for me. So here I am doing a little bit more yellow. Kind of looks like you're doing another lemon, but it's not. It's actually just a reflection of the lemon in the water. And so you're going to have a lot more yellows basically to the, I guess if you're looking directly at this painting right now, it would be the right side. So to the right of the lemon, you're going to have a little bit more of the reflecting of the lemon colors, like yellows here and there. Now I'm starting to throw in a whole lot more bubbles here and there. Some of them I'm making up on my own because I wasn't going to spend time tracing every single little bubble. I mean, there's really no sense in kind of doing that. I mean, make a circle. I mean, it's easy to make a circle, or heck, even if you don't make a actual circle and it comes out weird shape, like all oblong or something, or oval, or it's okay. Bubbles are that shape too. Bubbles can be any shape you want. So as long as you can just draw like in any kind of little circle, you look at your other bubbles that are in your reference photo, and that's all you really need. If they just threw in 2 bubbles on your reference photo and that's all they had, that's great. You can add in as many bubbles as you want on your picture, but just look at those bubbles and see where the colors are, so that way you can get an understanding of where the light's reflecting off of those bubbles, and just add in your darks and leave your lights light on where those colors and values are in that one little bubble. So that's basically what you got to be focusing on, is your colors. So here I am just kind of making a whole bunch of little bitty bubbles in there. I think I actually make a whole lot more bubbles. There's a little bit more of the yellow in there, so that's another bubble that's reflecting off of the lemon. And there's another bubble. It's not perfectly circular, so I'm making a little bit of an oval. Adding a little bit of my darker color where the shadow is on the bubble. And then I'm coming in with more of my grays and my lighter grays to kind of have this watery kind of look in the background, and I make it lighter, kind of further back in the background. There's a whole bunch of bubbles coming. See, I kind of get carried away. I had to do a whole bunch of little bitty bubbles everywhere. Adding in some gray tones. Now I'm erasing some of this area here which is basically the last part of this video, is working on the outside of the glass. And see, this one here would be a really good piece just to kind of draw out, even if you were going to draw it freehand or whatever. This one here would actually be kind of a simpler one. I hate to say that because I know it looks really intimidating by looking at it with the water and the lemon. You're like thinking, wow, it actually ain't that bad as what you think. It looks like it is. It looks super hard, but I mean, just creating an outside glass, if you look at the outside lines on how that glass is shaped, the water doesn't have to be perfect to what the reference photo is, but as long as it's close, so you make these little kind of lines going up, based off your reference photo. It can be a little off, like I said. The lemon, lemons are pretty easy. It looks like a little wedge. The little leaves of the mint leaf, basically, I will show you when I get done with this. I'll have a video or a little section right after this that will show you my reference photo. There's no little jaggedy lines on my leaves. There may be one line through it. It's basically just making the shapes. I created the texture by using my color pencils just by looking at the reference photo. So, pretty much that's all I really had to do. Just making those little wedge shapes and it ain't too bad. It ain't as bad as working like on portraits. I still have not accomplished portraits. So, yeah. Portraits are definitely a challenge for me. And you definitely want to be careful with doing like animal art and stuff like that too, because making their eyes a little off or doing anything like that, you can definitely see the difference whenever you don't draw an accurate basically piece. If you don't draw it accurately, then your animal or your person will look a little funny. It won't look as realistic. Because somebody will look at it and be like, okay, something's wrong here. There's something wrong with this animal. One eye's further down than the other eye. Or maybe it's a pet portrait. That's also another thing. If you're making pet portraits, of course the owner's going to know if, something's a little off on the picture. It could have spots that, maybe you just decided, well, I'm not going to put those spots in there because I think that spots will look better without those spots in there. You take out those spots, well, the owner's going to be like, hey, that's not my pet. My pet has those spots and maybe I like those spots. So, you have to be really precise on that, or at least be as close as you possibly can with reference photos, pet portraits. As far as like eyes and everything else, making sure that those are aligned. Definitely on anything animals, like any kind of animals and stuff like that. That's if you're wanting to get it more realistic looking. Now, as far as my idea with my strawberries, you still get them realistic looking, but they're all shaped funny, like shaped in letters. But if I try and shape an animal's face into letters, it'll look weird. It won't look realistic. There's no way. I don't know. That's kind of a challenge there. What can you change into letters? I was thinking strawberries and change them into letters. And there you go. I'm basically finishing up the final touches on this. Super, super excited. Doing the little bubbles here. Basically using my grays, my gray tones. And I just left the pencil on there on those two little round bubbles on the end. There was really no need to erase that. It was just like, all right, it's light enough anyway, it'll be fine. So I just kind of left those. Kind of cleaning up the edges and adding a little bit of green at the end. Now where I'm going to sign it. So I'm just kind of getting an idea. And there we go. Now here I am going ahead and removing the tape and getting that off. Now since I was trying out this new paper, and just to let you know, the paper to me felt really soft. Like I said, it felt like I was burnishing it a lot more than what I should with my normal pencils. But other than that, the colors turned out really pretty. Besides doing the burnishing, didn't really use my OMS on it that much. But other than that, it was amazing. Absolutely love it. And yeah, just a different technique of working on it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please click the like and subscribe, and wait until just a moment. I'll have my reference photo and me explaining some of the stuff that I did for tracing. Alright, well, I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to put this, after I got through doing my color pencil piece, I wanted to go ahead and put kind of like if you were to trace or anything like that, or kind of transfer your drawing onto this paper, so that way you're not making a smudge or anything. I just wanted to show you too. I know I drawed a lot more lines than what I should have for like transferring. I kind of went over and above usually what I do. I don't really do this much, but I went ahead and did it. But I wanted to show you that, you know, some of the things that you have is just an outline of where things go, but necessarily you don't have to follow it to a T with your, you know, all your lines, because really in all reality you don't really need them. You just need to watch your colors on your reference photo and then look back and just start doing it. So like for instance, I mean, like this lemon here, I drew this line, but then I drew another one in here, and see how I made it darker so that way you can see those lines. See these leaves? I did the little circles and I drawed one little line or so through there just to kind of tell it's a leaf going this way. But other than that, I really probably didn't even need to do any of the lines in the center, because I just went with my own lines. As you can tell on this tracing paper, the leaves are just ovals, just kind of oval shaped in different ways. But whenever I went to doing my drawing and my color pencil work, that's where I add in my leaves, my detail, the little jagged lines, you know, just making that look just by following off of my reference photo, by looking to see what those leaves look like. Other than that, I don't really, you know, do that much except for drawing the little circles or leaf shapes, you know, drawing like this. Sometimes I want to go ahead and just do a whole drawing and can get carried away. But yeah, and then as you can tell here, you see I made this little lemon here in the back. You can kind of see a little sliver of it, like if it's looking through. Well, I didn't have that on there, so there wasn't that. But when you look at the actual picture and you're looking at that lemon kind of going through, and there's this little clear spot, I went ahead and did that, so that way you can kind of see that lemon on the other side of the glass. Now, as far as this line, I probably didn't really need it. Now, whenever you come to this, of course, I had little lines here, but I decided to make this little swoosh or this little watermark here. Of course, reference or little tracing, there ain't that. All it is just a couple of little lines. In the picture, we actually make the design there. I mean, as far as like the little bubbles and stuff like that, I wouldn't even toss those in there. As you can see through the tracing paper, see there's no bubbles there. I actually put those in the drawing because I thought they would look good having some bubbles there. I also did a whole bunch right through here, that as I lift, I didn't put all those bubbles in there. That's because, you know, I threw a little bit in from what I see on the reference photo by looking at it. But whenever it came to me getting excited about how many bubbles there are, I kind of threw a little bit more in than was even originally on the reference photo. Now these here was not a part of this reference photo. This one here, of course, I got from Pixabay, but it was by itself. And I did not want it by itself. I wanted to add a leaf and I wanted to add another lemon to it. So that's what I did. I went ahead and made this picture. You know, I added touches to it to make it that much better. Now, as far as this, you know, whenever I was doing this, I just kind of put a little swappy circle in there just because I saw a shadow in the reference photo, and I'm looking at it and I said, okay, I'll just draw this little weird shape in there. Does not mean that that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes I wonder why I even put it in my, you know, in my drawing anyway in the first place, just because I see a shadow. But I went ahead and just did my own thing there, and I added some little bubbles inside of this lemon that has been squeezed and made up my own on that. So I mean, you just look at your reference photo. As far as like it goes, like here I extended it out just a little bit there, you know. I just kind of went with my own thing, kind of looking at what it was, but I didn't follow anything too exactly as a T. I added in a whole lot more of the little bubbles there. As you can see, these little bubbles like in between there. Yeah, added some more there. Added some detail in here that was not a part of it. This here, I don't even know. Kind of scratched that part. I just went over and made my own thing, which doesn't really fit exactly to, like I said, the reference photo. So it really wasn't too much of a need for drawing in all these little squigglies there or anything like that, because that wasn't really, it wasn't really going to matter. Kind of went up a little bit, out a little further on that. So I mean, it ain't exactly to a T, it is close. I mean, I definitely wanted to make sure that my glass was straight. Of course, you know, this is kind of wonky there, but I went ahead and fixed that and made sure that it was nice and straight on my actual drawing. So yeah, and this here was blank, and as you can see, there's a lot more detail in that than it is in here because there ain't nothing there. So my point of this is that sometimes, even if you're doing any kind of like rough sketch or anything like that, as long as you get your main shapes correct, like just draw the lemon and just draw this lemon, kind of like the outside part, kind of get those main shapes, outside shapes really of it. I mean, even like the leaves, just draw the little leaves, get your outside shape, make sure all these are drawn correctly. You really shouldn't have too much of a problem. It's just about looking where your colors are, where they come out, where they stop, and you just kind of grow from there looking at your reference photo. And that's just, well, that's at least pretty much what I do. So unless I'm like drawing something freehand, sometimes I can get carried away. And this one bird, I don't know if I ever showed, I don't think I've ever showed you guys on this one here, which I should have done before, but I know you guys have seen this one before. It's in one of my videos where I did the Derwent, it's the water soluble graphite for these two little birds. Now I decided to do one bird is traced and the other bird is freehand. Yeah, one's traced and one is freehand. And I always say, which bird is which? Can you tell which bird is traced and which bird is freehand? So, yeah, I know I have asked that question before to some of my friends, and they just look at it thinking, well, give me a moment. Give me a moment. I have to keep looking. I have to keep looking. And I was like, yeah, I was like, that's just the thing, is that, you know, I can draw, but the thing is that sometimes if you're in a hurry and you're just trying to get to that part where you're just wanting to get into the painting, you want to get into that coloring, you know, and you have to get through the drawing first to get to it. Sometimes you're just too excited. Just go ahead and trace it, get it over with, put it out on your paper, because you're going to trace it anyway, right? Because after you get through drawing, you don't want to mess up your paper and have a bunch of eraser marks all over it. So might as well just get to it and bypass it. But if you're wanting to draw a drawing and have just the drawing and do it that way, then yeah, more power to you. If you have the time, definitely. But yeah, one of these birds, like I said, is drawn. One is freehand, or one is traced and one is freehand. And I will point to the bird that is hand drawn, which happens to be my little favorite bird that I actually have on my phone. Yeah, screen saved. Is this one right here. This little guy here. I drew by hand. This one here was traced. And you could never really tell the difference. I mean, the only thing I could tell the difference is whenever I actually had my drawing where I had to trace it and transfer it on here, compared to, actually I don't know if I even did that. I think I had a lot of recent marks on it or what. I don't even remember it too much. But I can tell you that the bird that I drew by hand, freehand, looks so much better than my traced picture. Because the traced one, it was horrible. Like, the lines were not even straight. I mean, it was all wiggly, wobbly. I just do not trace worth anything. I mean, I really don't. Like, my lines are never straight whenever I trace. But whenever I go to drawing, this one here looked perfect. It looked so much better than the one that I actually copied. And I was like, imagine that. I was like, my hand drawing looks better than my tracing. Because my tracing, I don't know if it's just like I'm in a hurry and I just want to get the shape down. Sometimes I'll just make the drawing and it'll be like little wobbly lines and nothing will be actually straight. And I just have to fix it whenever I go into coloring. Because whenever I go to painting or anything like that, then that's whenever I go ahead and make the adjustments to clear that all up and make it more proportional, or at least more even. So yeah, I just started to put that out there, is that, yeah, either one is fine, and there's nothing wrong with it on whichever way you do it. But I just think it was kind of a good little lesson. These birds always be in my mind all the time, where I can ask somebody, because I know some people are like, do you trace? You don't know how to draw or anything like that. And it's like, no, I do. Well, I like to show my little birds and tell them, which one can you pick? I don't know. I love these two. They're actually really cute. They're some of my favorite little birds. I got them hanging on my wall. Probably need to clean my picture up some. But yeah, I just wanted to show that to you. And I spent a lot of time actually tracing this little outline, because as you can tell, the only wibbly wobbly part, I think I got a little bit right in here, and then this lemon here wasn't really straight. But most of the time I'm not usually that clean with my tracings. Usually it's like all over the place, like it looks like a bunch of gibberish. I mean, it really isn't that proportional. It just tells me where something starts and where something stops. And that's just to help me out a little bit whenever I'm eyeballing my reference photo and I'm actually going in coloring. And at some points with wood grain, I know I did that little hamster's tea party coloring pencil piece. As you can tell with the wood, you know, I try to do like a couple little swooshes in there just to say, hey, it's wood. Well, I do all the detail myself whenever I do my color pencil work without even drawing and with a pencil. It's just something that I prefer to do, and just a lot more joy for me not to have to look at a pencil mark on there and just kind of make up what I want. And yeah, I thought I'd share this with you guys. You know, who knows if any of you guys would kind of feel the same way sometimes, or you know, but either way is perfectly fine. I absolutely had fun doing this piece. And I know it's forever home it's going to go to. They're going to enjoy it too, just as much as I do. And yeah, I mean, the whole point of making art and creating art is having fun with it. As long as you are having fun, it doesn't matter what anybody else says as far as like, well, how you got to that point. Have fun. That's the goal. All right, you guys. I think I had done enough with the I don't know, words of inspiration. There we go. I think I've done enough words of inspiration. So anyways, I will catch you all later, and I'll see you all next week. Bye, you guys.